Warning, we're going to be discussing events for currently running weekly anime.
If you want to avoid spoilers for certain shows, there are timestamps in the description.
Well, hello. How nice of you to join us, everybody. I'm Jay, the resident artist, and this is Rex, our resident goofball. Welcome to the spring 2019.
Oh yeah, artist can't remember what fucking year it is.
Yes.
Also, what the hell is goofball supposed to mean?
I don't know. I just thought it was funny. Anyway, welcome back.
Feel classy holding a glass of wine in your hand? You're some kind of big shot?
I absolutely do. Thank you for asking. Anyway, so welcome to the spring 2019 week 1 episode of the Timesink Anime Podcast. It's good to be back, everybody, and here we are in a new season and this is going to be a pretty laid back first episode, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as last season. There's not a huge amount of stuff out. There's more out this season in the first week than there was last season. I think there's like 2 shows.
Yeah, something like that. And to be fair, though, a couple of the shows that aired this week were also short-form shows. We'll be talking about those eventually, but...
Well, I mean, we'll be talking about them this week, but probably won't be talking about it much afterwards, because short-form shows don't make for good talking points most of the time.
Yeah, it's just, this happened.
Yeah. So, our apologies if our sound sounds a little off. We're testing out some new stuff. We got a new sound setup going on, more microphones.
Yeah, more microphones.
More programs with which to process the audio. So it might sound inconsistent at some points.
We are going to try and get used to this new setup. I'm looking forward to the new challenge here. But anyway, so new season, new audio setup. Let's get right to business. So what are the news?
So we got the Promised Neverland English trailer recently dropped, and I think we talked about this earlier, that it's going to be on Toonami.
Oh yeah,
confirmed. And without going into the whole cast, we got Erica Mendez as Emma.
No surprise there.
Which Ryuko Megumin, off the top of my head,
she's been in a lot. Let's just put it simple.
Yeah, Retsuko.
Yep.
Jeannie Torado as Norman, which recently she's played Kokoro in Darling in the Franxx, and Rico in, I think, Love Live Sunshine, I think it was.
Okay. And
then we got Laura Stahl as Ray, which, as far as I can tell, based on looking things up, this is her first big role that she's done before. I don't know what else she's done that's of note.
Well, that'll be interesting. Like, I have... if for people who watched us last season, you would know that that Promised Neverland was certainly my favorite show last season, I think.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
It obviously one of the best suspense shows to drop in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. It just hit all the right notes. We're going to go more in depth about that when we revisit it in our winter 2019 review, which will be dropping in a couple weeks. So Anyway, I have not, but getting back to the whole dub news, I have not heard any of the dub trailer stuff yet. Erica Mendez as Emma, that makes a lot of sense. It just does.
Yeah, spunky little girl.
Exactly. And I have I wonder, the one I'm most interested in is Ray, because Ray was my favorite character in the show, hands down. So I hope the English voice does him justice.
I thought the trailer sounded pretty good.
I haven't seen the trailer yet. We'll probably link that in the video, yeah?
Yeah, down in the description below. Speaking of trailers, Trigger just dropped a new Promare trailer, which I am so goddamn excited. It looks kick-ass.
Okay, yeah, I agree. It's very, very Trigger. So about what you expect. Lots of bright, flashy colors, lots of really over-the-top character designs. One of the characters just looks like Kamina.
The main character?
He looks like Kamina. Yeah. Let's not mince words. He looks like Kamina. Spiky blue hair, kind of a buzz cut on the side, but yeah. It's Kamina. Let's not joke around. But just judging from the trailer, I was not at that panel that you were.
Though I went to a live drawing panel for Komori-Con last year. Yeah, and okay, so it was they said live drawing panel. There was no live drawing. I'm assuming maybe they planned for that, But it ended up just being here, look at premiere and look at what it's going to be, and here's some interviews from like the cast and stuff. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, the link for the trailers in the description below as well. So yeah, definitely check that out. Premiere is on top of my list to see in theaters.
Yeah, no kidding. I
think next month.
Oh yeah, it is next month. Like May, not April. It's April now. May 25th, I want to say, was when it said that it was debuting, at least in Japan.
Yeah, probably be a little while after that for America.
Yeah, probably. Any other news?
No.
Okay.
Not a lot going on this week.
Well, that sounds about right. We're starting off the kind of just, this season is just kind of lulling us into a nice, steady pace. We're blooming slowly and beautifully like cherry blossoms.
Yeah, and then give it a few weeks and all the rain's gonna come down.
Yeah, all the rain's gonna come down and make the cherry blossoms look all disgusting and crowding the streets. Because that's how it do in the Pacific Northwest. So, anyway, on to shows for this week. For starters, we're just going to be carrying over a little bit from last week because most shows...
Last season.
And also technically last week.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're going to be starting with some of the shows that either have carried over from winter 2019 or have absolutely concluded. Then we're going to be talking about the new shows for this season that have officially started. So, without further ado, Jojo Golden Wind.
Well, really quick, Dororo.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So there was no episode of Dororo this week.
Yeah, just bring that up real quick.
Yeah.
They're taking a break for a week is what it seemed like.
Which, that's totally fine with me. Kind of get just 12 episodes in.
Yeah, a lot of shows do that in between seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. In between course, indeed. So, back to JoJo Golden Wind. So, Trish finally gets her stand, and I called it last week that it's gonna be what it was. It's Spice Girl, but no, they're calling it Spicy Lady.
Spicy Lady.
Spicy Lady.
That's probably my favorite fake
name. Yeah,
for a stand so far.
That's pretty funny. I wonder what Guns N' Roses would be if they had one, like Revolvers and Tulips.
I don't know.
But anyway, so. Interesting thing about Trish's stand, it's very rare to see a stand that is as eloquent as it is, and actively interacts with the user on with such a rapport. We've seen it before, Koichi's Echoes kind of does that in Act 3, and the Sex Pistols do that to a lesser extent.
That's the only ones I can think of, really.
But yeah, most of the time you see, they're not nearly as eloquent. Look at Set Star Platinum. Ora ora is all it says.
Yeah. I mean, Star Platinum, I think he kind of interacted with Jotaro. Yeah,
Jotaro.
In the beginning, a little bit, when he's first learning about it. Mm-hmm. At least that's kind of what it seemed.
Well,
but yeah, she was having a full-on conversation.
Yeah, which I just thought was really interesting, and it's not something that there are examples where where there is evidence of the contrary with it. But point being, it was just kind of bizarre seeing it have such a conversation, a very eloquent conversation, rather than just I'm hungrier. Oh no, me stop.
Yeah, the ability is.
Weird.
It's not super complicated. At least, I mean, I guess maybe that's what they're making it out to be. Because from what we can see now, she just turns stuff into soft, rubbery substances.
Yeah, to quote what Spice Girl said was, making things softer makes them harder to break than diamonds. Very nice callback to the previous
Diamond
season.
is unbreakable.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if that was intentional, and if it was, that's actually really funny, I think. But yeah. That's a really interesting way that they went about it. It was just, this whole fight with Notorious Big has been a really kind of tense situation because this thing in particular, as I said last week, feels like something out of a freaking body horror movie.
Yeah, I liked how Notorious Big was. I like how its weakness was that when it hit things that weren't moving, it took damage.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was really cool, because it makes sense, because it matches its speed to however fast the other thing's going.
Oh, yeah, and the whole rules of physics thing.
Yeah, so if it matches its... Or if it's going really fast with something it can't match its speed to, then it's just oh, fuck! it just hits the wall, and
exactly.
It didn't even hit the wall that hard. It just like splattered.
It sure sounded like it hit it really hard.
Yeah, it didn't look like it.
Yeah, no kidding. The other really cool thing about this stand was it definitely most of the time we've seen with stands, stands are supposed to be sort of like a reflection of a person's inner personality and stuff like that. And this definitely is the rebellious side of Trish, the one that is kind of tired of running away and just being useless. And it was really cool, just moves slower than the second-hand Glock, but with the strength of a vice, and then just digs in with the pipe.
Just imagine having a pipe stabbed into you slowly and just mixing you around.
Oh god, yeah, ugh, god. And that's when we get introduced to the spicy lady, as she referred to herself, or rather, how the subtitles referred to her.
Yeah, she went from very meek to being pretty big badass in the episode.
No, I liked it. I've been, and it's definitely she's filling fucking Fugo shoes and then some, because that's really what she's kind of serving as at this point, kind of a bit of a placeholder, for Fugo, I think. Or at least somebody to sort of even out the party.
Yeah, well, they got a group pose together.
Yeah, that was super cool.
And I was just imagining, the Indian thing of, friendship with Rajesh has ended. This guy is not my best friend. Friendship with Fugo ended.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty cool how she... I mean, it was kind of hand-wavy, I think, but it was cool how... it was Big was going to try attach itself to Bucciarati's arm, and then she was just like, rah, and then just knocked it away. I was like, okay, maybe she turned her hands into rubber or something.
Probably. I imagine so. But then they inadvertently created a sea monster.
Oh yeah, a little that. They've done this before, with the face rock.
Yeah, the face rock
in Diamond is Unbreakable. That was just an urban legend. I looked it up, and it wasn't a real thing, at least not that I could see off the internet.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been something you'd have to look into very deep.
Yeah, or it was just something that what's his face wanted to actually just make up because screw it, looks funny. Also her wannabe cry is a fucking Spice Girls song. That's what I thought. I was thinking that I was like, wannabe, isn't that just a Spice Girls song?
Yeah, if you wanna be my lover.
Okay, it is. All right. Okay. Okay, that's really funny, really clever, really stupid, but that's JoJo.
And then obviously her Arrivederci.
That was cool. Because it's interesting because Bucciarati had done much of the same before, when in the fight against Babyhead, I think. No, not Babyhead. Somebody on the train.
Babyface.
Was it Babyface?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Babyface. I think Babyhead was the translation.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Anyway, but then there's the bigger part of the episode where we get to see more what the boss is doing. And seeing, just how much he's, looked into this and... actually is panicking about it. It's actually really cool to see. If she finds out where this place is and Abakio is able to replay it with Moody Blues, then she'll be able to figure out it was me who took the picture there.
Yeah, I didn't expect Moody Blues to be such a prominent part of the story. Because it feels like they're using it a lot where they would be stuck if they didn't have it otherwise.
Yeah.
I it's a really useful stand ability. It's just not a combat stand, really.
Oh, absolutely not. Although we have seen Abakio use it, use the stand specifically in combat. But yeah, the ability itself is not very combat oriented in the slightest.
Yeah. So the episode ends with the boss heading off to stop the gang or destroy the statue or something.
Yeah, he basically kind of adapting the whole if you want it done right, you have to do it yourself sort of mentality. Because he said, I can't let my subordinates handle this.
Well, the thing is, he's going to have to do it sneakily because he even acknowledged himself back in the original part where they fought him. He couldn't take them all at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the reason he retreated in the first place. So maybe another conflict next episode. We still haven't seen Hitman Squad leader guy in a while.
Yeah,
either.
We haven't seen Risotto for a while. Does he exist, even?
So next up is the finale of the Magnificent Kotobuki, which turned out to be it was an alright finale. Okay, I would say overall I I definitely can't say the show was great,
Mm-hmm.
but I had so much fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a lot of fun with the show too, and I think the finale, at least the final few minutes, felt like particularly well deserved, and it was an enjoyable ending. It was an enjoyable finale. It was what I expected for a finale to this show.
I have one complaint, that being I didn't really care much about the side characters, like what's her face, Naomi, and then the 2 guy pilots.
Yeah, because Naomi we'd only seen like a couple episodes beforehand.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they're getting married, which I understand life or death situations put you in a higher emotional state, but that just seemed like a dumb plot point.
The suspension bridge effect, pretty much.
Although all the content with the Kotobuki Corps specifically, I loved in this episode.
Absolutely,
like the dog fights were amazing.
As is par for the course with this show, like seeing all the different tactics and stuff. Some of the craziest, most bizarre tactics I think I've seen with it, like
dipping the tail of your plane in the water to go backwards.
Yeah, doing that, like Isau's assistant basically calling in a crane to chop off the wing of one of the pilots in the planes. Like Rayona freaking going in reverse to like jam the guy's repellers and cause them to basically explode and cause them to go down.
Suicide crash.
Yeah,
minus the suicide.
Exactly. I think that just all this stuff, and then Kilie's like sweet like backflip, sort of like flying over somebody, just shooting her the whole time.
That was very hand wavy because it's like her plane got shot to shit, and she's like, "I'm gonna keep flying anyways because the power of friendship."
Because the power of friendship and the power of my mentor told me to. I guess.
But definitely in the moment, it was really cool.
Yeah, and I will say this: like, had they actually kind of explored Isao more as a character, like I could definitely and actually kind of shown more to his motivations, I could have actually seen him as a more like threatening villain. Like,
yeah, they definitely like played him off as really goofy, and then in the end, all of a sudden, they kind of made him into a more serious villain.
Yeah,
which they definitely should have. Took a longer time to
like. They should have what they should have done is explain more about the fucking holes in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
And why Isao was so obsessed with them. Like what caused him exactly to be so obsessed with them in the first place. Like, because that's a very real thing. Like wanting power, like seeing an opportunity to get these really powerful inventions and stuff like that, and wanting it for yourself. That's a valid enough reason to be a villain. But at the same time, yeah, it just kind of felt out of left field when he says all of a sudden he's a villain now.
Yeah, there's situations where You're storytelling and you're kind of leaving things open to the audience's interpretation, but also the way it played out made it, like you said, it felt like just it came out of left field, like it wasn't really an earned plot point.
Yeah, because we didn't really know much about the holes, like, to begin with. Like, we heard about them bringing him up in the old Sav episode when he was first introduced, like, that was brought up, but then all of a sudden, we didn't really have much context to it other than that before that point. All of a sudden, they're the MacGuffin of this story now. So, yeah, that's probably my biggest complaint about this finale and this kind of idea. And I think, though, that overall, yeah, I enjoyed this show. It was a worthy finale. Like,
so there's an interesting note about the like quote unquote futuristic fighter plane that came after him.
Oh yeah,
it is an F-86D Sabre American fighter jet. So the interesting thing about that is that they were produced around the 1949 is when they first existed, and then they were used around the 1950s. So it just kind of puts an interesting timeline on the show, that the alternate world is it's not necessarily a portal to Japan. I guess just the Japanese people are the ones that came through, like a couple of them.
Yeah,
or something.
The Yufang, as they refer to.
But I guess that means in this situation, Isau's either working with a American arms dealer or he's working with like the American government, or something like that. Which would be that would have been a really interesting plot point to delve into.
Yeah, no kidding. I like how they basically pointed out Isau's really no different from the air pirates, because he wants to basically terrorize people and take what from other people what really isn't his to begin with. I thought that was an interesting kind of parallel they drew. And then I think that it was really cool, kind of going back to that like fighter jet with all the proximity fused missiles, which... What is the difference between a proximity-fused missile and a heat-seeking missile? Are they pretty much the same thing? Is that just another term for them?
Well, those are two different kinds of things, because heat-seeking missiles are not it's not about the explosion, it's about the targeting device.
Mm.
Proximity missiles is about how the payload explodes.
Right.
So you can have a heat-seeking proximity missile if you wanted.
I guess so. But anyway.
That's what it seemed that those were.
Yeah. Because they would go towards the target, and then they would explode once they detected the target.
Yeah, because the thing about it being a proximity missile is just, instead of being actually contacted with them, it could just explode near them.
Yeah, and that was a really cool little bit when Chika and Kilie figured out, it's like, wait, it hit that random stone pillar. I have an idea. So they cause him to blow up this huge statue, which causes him to basically veer off and crash, which I thought was a really clever little tactic. We talked about tactics earlier, and that I thought was another really
yeah. It's always cool seeing Chika and Kilie work together because they're just such assholes to each other.
Yeah,
all the time.
And then,
but they're so in sync.
Yeah, exactly. They're so in sync, and Chika and Kilie are both people who definitely don't want to admit to each other that they actually are good friends and like each other.
Yeah,
because even when they thought that Kilie was dead, she was basically crying, basically calling out for her. And also, almost forgot, battle pancakes.
Oh yeah, everybody gets their snack.
Yeah,
except for what's her, Emma, blonde girl.
Yeah, who looked like she was just praying.
Yeah, she was just praying. But Chika had her curry udon, the vending machine curry udon,
and then Kate had her hamburger. Rayona wasn't eating anything. I think she was just too focused on the mission. And Zara was drinking. Yeah,
which is probably fine.
Yeah, it's probably fine. Hey,
Kilie, with her little mini pancakes.
Yeah, her little mini pancakes.
Yeah, it was. I don't think that's a good idea to be eating before flying.
Yeah,
immediately, because I know flying puts a lot of stress on your body.
Yeah,
because the forces, the G forces, and such.
Yep, no kidding.
But, then we got a little bit of an epilogue at the end that was just kind of every character is I'm gonna do this now. Oh, we're gonna get married, and then it was kind of just nice seeing everyone's personal aspirations
and just kind of flying off into the sunset, just like a Western series.
Oh yeah, soundtrack. I also want to bring that from this episode.
The freaking Western style music.
When the ballad kicks in, it's just bow, 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 bow.
Yeah,
it's an old Western duel. I love the aesthetic of this show. It's so Wild West meets steampunk kind of planes.
Yeah, no kidding. I absolutely adore
not
that.
Steampunk, but just old school planes.
Yeah,
it really cool.
I really adore it. It was a fun ride. I that's all I have to say about this show. So next up, Mob Psycho 102.
So really quick, I want to say that this episode was really good.
Yes.
Still doesn't quite reach the level that episode 5 did.
That is very fair.
I called that as soon as we learned that the guy was leaving for military service. I was like, well, it's going to be hard to reach that level again.
And while this finale was very good and a very worthy finale for this season or series in general, I don't know if there's more source material actually after this, but anyway, it certainly was a worthy ending to this season. The animation and fight choreography and everything was just absolutely spot on.
Yeah, there was a lot of interesting themes being brought back. We see Mob actually, thoroughly getting into the fight and enjoying himself.
Yeah, actually start laughing and smiling. And and I was actually kind of just as shocked as Ritsu was, seeing that.
Yeah, because we've never seen that before, because he always made it a point to never use your powers for bad reasons. And quote unquote bad reasons, and in this moment, he was enjoying hurting someone with his powers.
Yeah. And just him seeing, looking at Ritsu's just terrified face and then immediately thinking back to when he'd accidentally hurt Ritsu as a child. It's oh god, I actually love it when they just revisit, quick little things like that. And just, again, help you just kind of realize, oh yeah, this is kind of a recurring theme here without having to go into such big detail about it.
Mm-hmm.
But, I really liked Mob's little bit to Suzuki saying, So it wasn't luck really holding you back, it was bonds. You may not believe me, but I really don't want to hurt you.
Yeah, him just crying as he crushes him with 2 buildings.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's very Devilman Crybaby, pretty much, because that's kind of how Akira Fudo works. Like, he doesn't want to hurt people, but he does.
Well, it turns out that in the end, he eventually decided that he wanted to try and stop the explosion, because when he realized that he's like, I have someone I need to confess my feelings to.
Yeah.
What's her face? The girl.
Tsubomi.
Tsubomi, yeah. and then, but I thought it was really sweet how, before he realized that, he's just like, well, you're gonna die, but I'm not gonna let you die alone. So he goes there and to help him contain the explosion.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the fight first, like how like Suzuki first goes into like a like kind of starts to gradually increase his output, but then Mob starts basically like twisting his hands and stuff around.
Oh yeah, that was the point where Mob, he realized like I'm not strong enough to try and make you a better person. So he just tries to kill him, like, outright, which is something we've never seen Mob do before. Yeah,
like, it felt like the closing scene of Akira, actually. That movie, if you haven't seen it yet, go and watch it. But it was actually kind of disturbing just all of a sudden see, like, Suzuki's hands just start to get, like, twisted around and contorted. Like, and then him turning into, like, an actual energy monster.
Yeah, was that the part where he turned, like, big and buff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. And then I love the Body Improvement Club fight! And he punches him.
And then, and then his arm goes... Yeah, there were so many cool things in this, and you gotta love it whenever Mob goes into, like, a Bishonen hero mode, like, he gets, like, super handsome.
Yeah, super gorgeous eyes and hair and everything.
You gotta love it.
Which that's definitely that was probably something that he thought of in the beginning, when making the series, because that's, by having Mob look like such a boring, bland character with, like, these almost cartoony, boring facial expressions, it makes him pop out so much more when he actually goes into anime mode.
Yeah, no kidding. And I absolutely adore that. It's very similar like what they did with Saitama and One Punch Man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, which, again, makes sense. They're written by the same guy, so...
I think my favorite plot point in this episode was the simple thing of Mob having the seeds in his pocket. Because going back, it was just like a few episodes ago, wasn't that like his payment for a job?
Something like that, yeah.
Or like a bonus is like, and Reagan's giving him the seeds that he has in his pocket this whole time. I think it was before the attack.
Yeah, I think so.
On the city. And then it's just like unconsciously, and that also goes back to like the first episode
when he's like learning to control plant life and stuff like that. Yeah.
So they just combine that into this penultimate, really serious moment where Mob subconsciously put all the energy from the explosion into the seeds.
Yeah, and that was actually really hilarious too, because if you go back in that scene, you just see like all of a sudden this strange green shit, and then at the time you're not really paying attention to it. You're like, oh, that's cool.
That's probably stylistic or something.
Yeah, and then there's just so many like weird allusions to like what's going on, like a Mob walking through, and it's like, the ground here isn't made of concrete. And then Reagan all getting ready to say what happened, but then Mob falling unconscious. It just kind of keeps building up to like, okay, what the hell happened?
Yeah, to this very dark, serious moment, and then they show you like from Reagan's office, just a fucking giant broccoli.
Yeah,
that's like taking over like multiple city blocks.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my god, this entire episode was just great, and then even. Like, it was just a nice resolution and kind of, like, closing of a character arcs for a lot of different people. Like, Suzuki, like, finally figuring out what really pushed Suzuki kind of over the edge, really, was when his wife left him. That kind of quick little time lapse.
Yeah, that was a nice little thing to see.
Yeah, it was just, like, a minute and a half, maybe, and that's all you really needed. You just saw, like, the key details, which kind of pushed him over the edge, and that's what made Mob realize, wait, I have somebody I want to confess my feelings to as well, and that's what caused big broccoli stalk. And then when Suzuki's getting ready to get taken away, like, he kind of pictures Mob in his head, Mob reaching out his hand, basically saying he wants to shake it, and then you just see him kind of, like, clench his hand like he wanted to shake his hand there. I thought that was a nice little bit of, like, visual storytelling.
Yeah, they didn't try to excuse Suzuki's actions, but I feel like they did a good job helping us kind of feel help us kind of like sympathize for him a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though everything he did was still terrible.
Yeah, and he was still a terrible human being, but yeah, he was, as Mob put it, was just a very lonely person.
Yeah, and in the end, I think Mob actually did get through to him with all the stuff that he did, because he just ended up giving up and turning himself into the government.
Yep.
Which
exactly.
I don't see him trying to fight back anymore, really. I think he's probably done with everything.
He might not even have any energy left.
Oh, yeah,
to be
true.
honest.
Mob might have taken all of his energy and put it into the broccoli.
Yeah, because like he'd used too much energy and started to go haywire, which was what was the big deal anyway, why he was going to explode.
Yeah, he might just be a normal guy now.
Yeah, who knows? That could be very well possible. And then we see a nice little closing moment with Serizawa.
Yeah, I love that closing moment. Serizawa is such a good boy who's misunderstood.
Yeah,
he needs a Reagan.
Yeah, he needs a Reagan. I think that it was, for starters, Serizawa cleans up very nicely.
Yeah, he just looked like a very responsible adult man.
Once they cut off his fro. And yeah,
cut off his fro and shaved him, I think.
Yeah, and then I think it was funny, like you see Dimple kind of looking around at the hair, and you see him flying around with pieces of it on his head. And
Dimple wants that swag.
Yeah, and then him even looking, and then Serizawa even referring to Mob as a Kageyama senpai, which made Mob super nervous.
Mob's not the bottom of the chain anymore.
Yeah, and he was kind of nervous about the whole responsibility thing, but you could tell that he was kind of happy about it too. He's growing up. I really hope this isn't the end of this series.
Yeah, I absolutely would love more.
Yeah, and if it is, this would be a great place to end it, because really, Claw seemed like the be-all, end-all, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine if there wasn't even a lot of, fighting anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be fine with a Mob Psycho slice of life. Just seeing Mob grow more as a person.
Yeah, no kidding. Because this series has just done a really good job, and I absolutely adored this season, adored this finale.
So next up is the Rising of the Shield Hero.
Okay, first off, magical photoshopping.
Oh my god.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah. Well...
okay, illusion magic.
It's magic. You could just... You just wave it around, and it works. All right, they don't have to explain it really.
But at the same time, illusion magic I'm sure exists, so fine, I can guarantee it. But at just first blush, I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, really?
Yeah.
Just really, this is the route we're gonna go down? That's so fucking stupid.
So I already like this opening more than the last one, and I only saw it twice.
Yeah.
So I love the music for one, but the visuals I think are also a lot better.
Oh yeah, you see the one part in the opening where you see Naofumi using his airstrike shield to try and hold something up, but then you see everyone else in his party also kind of helping him hold it up, and the shield gets stronger. Yeah, I thought that was a really cool visual metaphor. It was really cool.
And just all the action shots, seeing Raftalia jump over him and slash, and then Philo with her punchy gloves.
Yay, Philo punchy gloves!
It's just a better directed opening in my opinion.
Yeah, the first opening definitely just felt more okay, here's a few character shots, here's Naofumi and Rage Shield moment, stuff like that. I will say that in spite of the magical photoshopping, which I thought was kind of stupid, I will say the aftermath of that, kind of showing showing the soldiers kind of presenting it to people, seeing public resentment start to grow, and stuff like that, even without any dialogue, and just seeing Raftalia investigating it and stuff. I thought that was actually pretty cool, pretty well handled. It didn't spell it out for you. You just kind of saw, through animation and stuff, what was going on.
I thought the magical Photoshop was fine. The goofy part about it, I think, was their faces.
Yeah, how they made them, all super evil.
They look like Dio. They look like old school, season 1 Dio faces.
No kidding. Now that you mention it, you're totally right.
Yeah, they just had, the same exact eyes and everything. But I guess they're headed towards Siltfelds.
Not Shield Freedom, I thought they were going to go to. Because though, if I remember correctly, was the more demi-human supremacist place, not just not where they were more tolerant of humans, if I'm remembering that correctly, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason they're going is because the kingdom is making it seem like they don't want them to go there. They're putting like more guards towards the Silt Belt area.
Also, just the extra security considering the whole they don't really like regular humans. Even Naofumi said we're going for extra security, and I think that was actually a pretty cool way of saying, okay, this is where we're gonna go now. I like that.
Yeah, so when they got cut up, when everyone catches up with them, I really want to give. I keep wanting to give Motoyasu credit and the benefit of the doubt that he's just an idiot. Mm-hmm. But everything he does just makes me hate him more.
Yeah, like
how he's just being like a creeper. Yeah. On Philo.
I had the Royal Alchemist. I had the Royal Alchemist make this so you could be a little angel forever.
Oh God.
Like, and you even saw him like walking up all creepy. Like,
yeah. Like they definitely pointing out that he's just a creep.
Yeah. Like, ugh. I absolutely hate Motoyasu. Like, I hate him about as much as I hate mine at this point.
I wouldn't put him quite up that high. My hate for him is on, like, a normal level.
Yeah.
My hate for mine is, like, I want to throw her into an incinerator and also put angry bees in the incinerator, but the angry bees are immune to fire, so she's being incinerated and stung by angry mutant fire bees. That's my level of hate for mine.
Okay, yeah, and I think we talked a little bit about this, like, after we'd finished this episode. Like, seriously, how can people still trust her? It seems like she's going well out of her way at this point to prove what a fucking sociopathic bitch she is, and yet people still believe her.
Well, the thing with royalty is, like, even if you don't necessarily believe the person, you kind of gotta look like you do believe them.
Yeah.
Like, at least in the case of, like, the foot soldiers. Because it's... And then you also kind of, like, have a little bit of preference towards them because you grew up, seeing them as these figures.
Maybe.
So it's really easy to not believe her as an audience member, and I think a lot of her little, like, asshole-ish expressions are probably something only we see.
Yeah.
Or Naofumi sees, and the soldiers don't really see that.
Yeah, probably. I mean, and that's all well and good, but still it does get a little bit... I guess it's getting a little repetitive at this point, is my big problem with it. It's
we get it. You're evil.
It's like, we get it. You're comically evil. Kind of going back to the whole, like, Dio face thing. She's basically just Dio. She is comically evil at this point.
I think it makes a good plot point, because it puts Naofumi in this weird political bind where he's trying to help people survive, but also he has to deal with this person without overthrowing the entire kingdom.
Yeah, like... Because even she is, like, pointing out, like, all these, like, things, like, basically things that he had done that were good, like giving medicine to people, like, kind of helping them with their problems, made people, it's like, oh, these heretics that have suddenly started worshiping the shield have popped up over the past couple months, and he's referred to himself as the savior of the heavenly fowl, which he never did. Everybody else started calling him that.
Yeah, context is very important, and she is definitely throwing all of it out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say that I do appreciate that Ren at least is hesitant of her at this point. Like,
yeah, Ren seems like the most intelligent one, for sure. Because, Itsuki, is that the archer's name?
Yeah, Itsuki.
Yeah, he's still kind of, he's like in the middle.
Yeah.
And Motoyasu's just
a fucking moron.
He's up there on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we see that Naofumi kind of trusts Ren a little bit.
Yeah, I actually thought that was kind of funny, because he's like, Ren, I trust that you'll be able to figure out what's really going on here. And I imagine him partly he was thinking, fuck you, Itsuki, you don't matter. It's like, get the fuck out of here, Itsuki.
Because Ren's definitely the one I think he's had the most meaningful interactions with.
Yeah. Exactly, and it's kind of made Ren start to question some of his decisions, like the whole, I think after realizing the whole dragon thing, like, even though he'd slayed the dragon, what the aftermath of it, like, all of a sudden there being a plague because of what he did, kind of made him start to question what he was doing. Yeah. So, there was a little bit of shock and kind of regret, I think, in that, so it makes him start to, trust Naofumi a little bit more.
We also got to see a little bit more of their new equipment.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see Philo launch Motoyasu with her power punchy gloves.
I was hoping she'd punch him in the dick.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she did.
No, she punched him in the stomach.
Was it? Oh, yeah,
it was the stomach. And he went flying, which, thank God, he deserved it for being a creeper.
And then the Mana Sword, I didn't expect it to do what it did.
Yeah.
Which it was just a sword designed to drain people's mana away.
Which, I guess if beings have, like, incorporeal forms, that would mean that they're probably just beings made out of pure mana, so...
True. Like, I was a little surprised when she's just like, teleports behind you, you're already dead.
Yeah.
No, nothing personal, kid. And stabs her. I was like, oh my god.
That was actually really cool.
I thought she just actually stabbed her for a second.
But no, it was just meant to sever her mana, which I thought was really clever on Naofumi's part, and probably hers as well. I also like the kind of like angles, like kind of indicating what Naofumi's plan was. Like when he was talking to Ren, basically trying to reason with him, like you see him like kind of look off to the side, and then the camera points off to like this path that's just kind of going off. It's thinking, okay, we're gonna take that and just. And actually seeing a little bit of Melty, like, using her magic, which...
her water magic.
Which I find it weird that a water mage is named Melty, and then her older sister uses fire magic. You'd kind of think it'd be the other way around.
I mean, water melts things that are soluble.
I get it. I don't know. But anyway, that's not my point. The point being that...
Wait, no, her sister's name is Mine. Which signifies that she's very greedy and wants everything for herself.
Well, her real name is Malty.
Well, then why do they call her Mine?
Because that's what she prefers. That was like her quote-unquote adventurer name.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's actually Princess Malty.
Well, I think Mine fits her better.
Yeah.
Because she's a greedy bitch.
Yeah.
And she just set a village on fire, I guess.
Which I assume she's going to try to make it look like Naofumi's Rage Shield did that. Like, I'm almost guaranteed.
Probably. Like, no, he burned a village down so he could get away from us.
Yeah, her plans are not subtle at this point. Like, seriously.
Yeah, she was like, what are you doing? Are you gonna kill the crown princess? She's like, it can't be helped. She's with Naofumi, so she has to die.
Yeah, the whole, like, she was basically trying to prove, like, say, oh, everybody who's been, like, anytime he's talked with somebody, he's got this brainwashing shield, basically.
Oh my god.
Like, I mean, which, considering the wide variety of abilities that Naofumi has, could make some degree of sense.
I'm curious if they can see each other's HUDs, or see each other's skills.
Yeah.
Because if they could, he could be like, here, look at my skills. I don't have a brainwashing shield.
Huh. I don't know. I don't imagine they can. Like, unless they're part of a party?
Maybe. That'll probably happen eventually.
Yeah,
What's this, how long is the show? 24?
I believe it's 24, 25 episodes, yeah.
Yeah, 2 cours.
Yup. Yeah, I'm liking this second season so far. It's shaping up to be pretty good. Mine is still setting up to be a fucking bitch. Now the old shows are out of the way, on to the new shows. Starting up, Demon Slayer. I'm intrigued by this show. Like,
yeah, me too. It was the only complaint I have is the monologuing.
Yeah, there was
from the swordsman character.
Yeah, there was kind of,
or not monologuing.
Yeah, it was inner monologuing.
Yeah, inner monologuing. Yeah,
yeah, it was sort of. Yeah, it was kind of awkward and very bizarrely handled. Like in some places, and then there were also some really weird things, like the main character just happens to have a really good sense of smell, which, okay, fine, that's all right, because it fits. Like, it's a unique ability that he has. I don't have a problem with that. It's just like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Really bizarre thing to point out. But
why?
Yeah, I don't know, just the whole idea, it's like, it's not something you really expect, I think, out of a fantasy story. Like, usually it's like, oh, you'd expect people to have a really good sense of hearing or good sense of sight. It's very rare that you think that somebody has an incredible sense of smell.
I don't see anything bad about that.
Oh, it's nothing bad. I'm just pointing out it's interesting.
Okay.
It's a little bizarre. It's not bad, but it is kind of bizarre, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
So I had to go back a few times and, double check how many siblings he actually had.
He has 6, doesn't he?
5. 5 other siblings, and then himself, and then his mom. So I was like, I thought his mom was his sister at one point, and then I realized his sister was the one carrying the youngest one before he left.
Who was cleverly named Rokuto, by the way.
Yeah.
Which, I think, Roku means 6, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah.
Yeah, Roku. Yeah, because Go is 5.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think that it is interesting because, there are 6 children in his family, which, given the time period that this kind of takes place in, that makes a degree of sense, because you want to have as many children as possible so that they might actually survive.
Yeah, we don't really know how the dad died. but
Or
they
even
said
if he is dead.
Yeah, they said he passed away.
Oh, that's right, they did.
Yeah,
He's
like,
probably...
this kid's been sad ever since he passed away.
Let's be honest, he's probably a demon. He's probably the demon that killed his family.
Maybe. Either or it's just... I don't think so. I think it's just going to be a non-plot point.
Maybe. I think that... But they did make an interesting thing to point out that if a demon is hungry enough, they'll go after anybody, even their own family.
Yeah, but he wasn't around.
Well, I'm saying that that's something that happened off screen, so I
think the reason he said that is if the demon just happens to be near their family. Like, I don't think that necessarily means he's going to go out of their way to go after its own family.
Maybe, but
it's just like any port in a storm.
I guess
whatever works.
But I guess if that is actually the direction they plan on going, I'm going to be able to say, called it once again.
So Tanjiro seems like a very good boy.
Yeah, Tanjiro does seem
he just
like...
goes into town and he's like, everybody loves him because he helps him with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel too ham-fisted, in my opinion. He just seems like a very hardworking
he's just
guy.
He reminds me a lot of Deku. He's very earnest.
Yeah.
And he's voiced by the same guy, isn't he? It sounds kind of similar to Deku's voice actor, doesn't it?
No, it's not.
It's not Deku. Okay.
Oh god, I forget what his name is, but he voiced blonde guy that got raped a lot in Happy Sugar Life.
Oh god. Oh my god. Okay, so that's Kousei Arima's voice actor. But also because Arima had the same voice actor as crap, I actually don't remember.
Play Connect the Chains. Anyway, yeah, it's not Deku's voice actor. I don't think.
Yeah, okay, so I think that was I think that his voice actor actually pretty much nailed it here as well, and I actually loved the scene when he was basically just throwing rocks at the samurai guy or whatever.
Oh, that was really clever.
Yeah.
How he almost beat him, kind of.
Yeah, and
not really, probably.
He basically like Castlevania'd his axe into the air.
Which that goes to show like how skilled he is by just, I mean, maybe it was luck.
Yeah.
But just getting an axe to specifically land right where his face would be.
Yeah.
That was pretty clever.
Yeah, I thought that was really clever. The CG in this was a little bit awkward, a little bit janky in some points, which, at least for Ufotable, or Ufotable.
I think they very rarely used it. I think I noticed it once when they were walking through the woods, I think.
Alright, yeah, no, that is true. I will say this, though. Hell of an opening, actually, for this series.
Also, Ufotable,
I know. It's a force of habit.
Yeah, the opening looked so kick-ass, like the effects of the like sword slashes and stuff.
Yeah,
it was like old canvas like Chinese paintings.
Oh yeah,
look like.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the OP. I was talking about like the opening, like to the series, like where he's like walking through the woods and that kind of like that sort of like the swaying camera angles, like kind of making him like just kind of capturing that sense of how disoriented he was. He noticed that he's got a really like noticeable scar on his face, but that's not really explained yet how he got it.
That might have something to do with his dad.
Probably. It might have something to do with his dad.
Maybe his dad saved him or something.
Maybe. Who knows? Point being, I'm looking forward to this series. Like, I'm intrigued. Like, we'll see how this, we'll definitely give this a few more episodes, but...
I'm curious about what the bamboo thing is in Nezuko's mouth.
I'm pretty sure it's just to make sure that she doesn't bite people.
Well, I think it's, it doesn't look like she's gagged or anything. It just looks like it's being held up to her mouth. So I think it's like herbs. Like an herb mixture to stop demon mode or something.
Maybe. And you think that it's kind of like the collars in Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress?
Yeah, it's like to stop them from becoming monsters, pretty much.
Yeah, basically sort of like keeping their impulses in check. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that the mysterious swordsman guy probably gave it to him.
Yeah, the Demon Corps member.
Yeah, I definitely see, unless it takes a dive in the next few episodes, I've definitely seen myself sticking with this show.
Yeah, same.
So next up is Fruits Basket, 2019 version, because they remade it.
Yep, and the original series came out in like what, 2001?
Yeah.
Okay,
it was.
Yeah, 2001, something like that. If we're wrong, be sure.
Am I in 2011?
Or was it 2000?
No. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. It was longer than 8 years ago, man. But anyway, if we're wrong, which I'm sure we are, be sure to let us know in the comments.
So I'm very conflicted about talking about the show on the podcast because it's a show that doubtless I think a lot of people have already seen, and they already know everything that's going to happen. And we're both we know the basic concept of the show, but we've never seen it before.
Yeah, exactly.
But that aside, I think this. I don't know if it's better than the original first episode, but I think this first episode was absolutely fantastic.
I remember like a little bit of the first episode when I saw it like some years ago. I remember a couple things, like for one, the art style has a severe upgrade.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
It's sort of like comparing like Canon season in 2001 to Canon 2006. Like,
I'd say art quality, because they
yeah.
definitely kept the same art style.
Okay, yeah, the quality has much improved here. And I remember the other thing, the Yuki fan club being much more annoying in the original. Like,
oh yeah,
they
already seem like just raging bitches in this one.
Well, yeah, they were even worse in the original.
Wow.
They were more obnoxious. They were basically like a fucking cheer squad, and it was fucking annoying to deal with. But yeah, other than that, I don't really remember much from the first episode because I didn't really watch most of it because I wasn't interested at the time.
Yeah, this episode had it set off to a really kind of sympathetic character in Toru.
Mm-hmm.
How she's just working really hard, and her mom's dead and her dad's dead, and her grandpa didn't want to leave her on the streets. So as soon as she like agreed that, oh yeah, I have a place to stay, like of course, and then she didn't want to impose on anybody, so she's just trying her best to live in a tent.
Yeah,
and then she's going to school and working and like paying for all of her own stuff.
Yeah,
she's just such a good girl.
Yeah,
she's
a very good girl. She deserves all the head pats for being a good girl. I loved it, like that little moment when she was like just like rushing around like the restaurant that she works, just cleaning up everything, and just the other like older ladies who work there are just kind of sitting there. It's like, well, this makes our job easier.
Yeah. I liked her friends too.
Oh, yeah.
They seemed a little eccentric, but pretty good people.
One is like a total raging delinquent. Like
I don't know about raging delinquent, but she definitely looks like it.
She certainly looks the part. Like kind of like tall, blonde hair, very aggressive,
like a gyaru.
Yeah, looks
appearance.
Very kind of aggressive looking, and sort of like basically tells teachers to piss off.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's pretty much like or at least she's giving off the impression that she's a stereotypical delinquent chick. And her other friend is just like this, like. I don't really know how to describe her. She seems like
quiet.
Yeah, that kind of quiet, sort of very bizarre friend who's just like
they're all very strange people, and that's kind of how they became friends, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know. Toru seems like for the most part, normal person.
Well, there's always the normal person
surrounded by a bunch of weirdos.
Group.
Yeah, I mean, about as normal as somebody who would just be totally okay living in a tent would be, I guess.
Yeah,
but. The two boys we've met so far, Yuki and his cousin
Shigure.
Oh, it is Shigure. Okay, yeah, Shigure. They were both interesting. I thought it was funny, like how when she said that she was living in a tent, Shigure just starts laughing.
Yeah, it's his first response. You're a hobo.
It's like I started laughing. I'm like, wow,
that's such a dick move.
It's like, what an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we get the pretty much like premise of the show of when she like touches them and they all turn into animals, which I'm assuming that's the ability, is when they get touched by women, they turn into their zodiac animal form.
Yeah, exactly. And interesting thing about the whole zodiac thing, like the zodiac animal, the cat, the unknown cat animal in the zodiac, because the rat was an asshole and convinced the cat that it was happening a different day.
Yeah, fuck the rat.
Yeah, the rat's an asshole. I mean, unless you're talking about Junie Tyson, in which the rat's really the only good person, kind of. There.
Monkey?
Oh, well, yeah.
But yeah, let's not talk about that. Junie Tyson's good, go watch it.
Alright. But yeah, good first episode.
This looks good. If you guys want to hear us talk about it more, go ahead and let us know. We'll probably keep talking about it for now anyways.
Yeah,
but if we get a lot of people saying that, like, they've already seen it and there's no point.
Like, and I've heard that this is supposed to more closely follow the original source material, because
is this Fruits Basket Brotherhood?
Pretty much is what I've heard. So I don't know at which point the divergences start happening, but. And they even said, like, in the the outro, like, it said Fruits Basket, the title screen, it said Fruits Basket first season. So I imagine this is going to go on for possibly a while. So let's hope so.
Looks good.
So next up, Hitoribocchi, an awkward teenage girl that doesn't make me just ridiculously cringy to look at.
Yeah, the official title that has been translated is Hitoribocchi's Lifestyle, which I remember. Like, I think the title we picked for our preview was The Life of Being Alone.
Yeah,
I think was the direct translation, which I think that might be a play on her name.
Yeah, I think so,
or something like that.
But yeah, I really liked this first episode here. Like it once again, kind of going back to Fruits Basket a little bit, it sort of created a little bit of a sympathetic character. Like, she's very young. She's only had the one friend, and she's an incredibly socially awkward person.
Yeah, she's like worse than Subaru from My Roommate is a Cat.
Yeah.
Which last season I was like, wow, I thought I was bad. I thought Subaru was bad.
Well, I mean, Subaru's a grown adult, and this is this is a 6th grader. So
she's so bad that when she tries to do introductions in class, she's just like,
yeah. I thought it was also kind of funny how she tried to sabotage people, like going like into class. It said class 1 has been abolished or whatever, and people just kind of shake it off, and they were like, "Oh, this looks like it's gonna be."
It made everyone closer.
It's like oh, this is gonna be a fun class. Which, if you'd think that, you could honestly just say, "Yeah, that was me. I actually made that." Like, it would have been a great way for her to kind of break the ice.
Yeah, but then she risks them knowing she defaced the class, and there's gonna be backlash, and then everyone's gonna hate her, and blah blah blah. That's the mind of a socially awkward, anxious person.
No, I know the like, I get it, like, but like, just from an outsider's perspective, you kind of recognize, like, oh, hey, people actually clearly were about it, and they thought it was hilarious, so that would have been a good way to break the ice, but the degree of mental gymnastics that she's capable of is actually really funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, that girl seems not shy. I'm not going to reach out to her.
Whatever reason she can convince herself not to talk to people.
Yeah, that girl seems about as shy as I am. I don't see a point in reaching out to them. Yeah. I like her friend, Naho or Nako. Yeah, Nako. Yeah. I think she's great.
Yeah, it's very wholesome how she kind of slowly becomes friends with Nako.
Yeah,
and then like she doesn't actually even think they're friends.
Yeah,
until the end of the episode, because she's like, I need you to verbally tell me that we are friends, and that's okay to be friends. It's like, you precious little bean.
Yeah, and. Yeah, Nako is like just cool, kind of another like sort of a kind of tough girl delinquent type.
Sarcastic.
Yeah, and it's cool that she already made one friend in the first episode. Like,
yeah, I think that's going to be the premise of the show, is just her slowly making friends with everybody in class.
Yeah, and I think is she supposed to be like close friends with everybody in the class, or is she just supposed to be sort of like friend, or at least on good terms with everybody in the class? We don't really know like the specific agreements.
Well, I think it's to be friends with everyone in the class, and then she's probably going to be close friends with like the 3 other girls we see in the opening.
Yeah, I think
those are probably going to be the main
friend group.
People that are the skits are going to be written around, because it seems like a very wholesome comedy show.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the end of the day, kind of like Hinamatsuri.
Yeah, Hinamatsuri. I don't think it's going to be as funny as Hinamatsuri.
No,
but
yeah, it looks good. The first episode was fun.
Yeah, it was a cute little adventure into the mind of a socially awkward child.
Lines I didn't expect to say today. So next up is Joshi Kausei.
Yeah, Joshi Kausei. It's Joshi.
Joshi, yeah.
Because Joshi means girl, Danshi means guy, roughly
Joshi
speaking.
Kausei. But this
the
episode is pretty much just one long skit.
Yeah.
It's another one of the it's one of the short form shows that we checked out this week.
But it was a funny skit. It was a funny skit.
Yeah.
And this is the series By the By, which is silent. So
yeah, no dialogue.
Yeah, and
it's just people going like and laughing and making noises
and like all the different like sound effects. Like, the whole thing about it was just this girl's thick thighs, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, and like how they basically made like boing sound effects anytime.
Yeah, I'm assuming that the guy on the train was like, oh no, I feel like she's being like physically abused.
Either physically abused, or thought there was something illicit going on because she had a scar, because she had like a handprint on her ass, pretty much, or close to her ass.
Leg, yeah, and it just all boiled down to a mosquito flew by and she slapped her thigh because the mosquito flew by.
Yeah, which I want to just point out, that was a really weirdly integrated mosquito. It looked like it really didn't belong.
It was like weirdly CG on another layer.
Yeah! Okay, so it wasn't just me.
It was kind of like the golden kamui bear.
Yeah, it was very strange. It was just very strange, but...
Yeah, this... I don't know, this skit itself kind of seemed a little, trashy. Because it was, a girl laying in a very promiscuous position in a desk. Yeah. Although, kudos to them for not showing a panty shot. Yeah. Because I feel like most studios would show a panty shot right there.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the point, because, she was just basically just trying to be comfortable, and, you even see, one of her friends kind of just, go in and trying to, get her to, and just trying to get her to not have her skirt up so high or anything like that. So I think the show is very aware of that, which I think is pretty funny.
I think we need a gif of her just going clap, 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 clap with her thighs.
I'm pretty sure it's gotta be a thing. Yeah. It has to be.
Yeah, so I'm definitely interested in seeing what kind of skits they can make with a silent show.
Yeah, with a silent show. The I imagine they're only going to be 3 to 5 minute episodes max.
I think it was 10, including the opening and ending.
No, I'm pretty sure this one was only 4 minutes.
Was it?
Yeah, the next show we were talking about was about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So that's an interesting segue onto our next show, Senryu Girl. Once again, another kind of wholesome little short form comedy show.
I'm immediately in love with the adorably simple art style they have going on.
Yeah,
it's just everyone has kind of vibrant little personality appearances about them.
Yeah.
Nanako, she looks very she just looks like a quiet girl.
Yeah.
And she doesn't talk, and then Busujima just looks like a badass.
Yeah, he looks like a stereotypical delinquent character.
And the interesting thing is those characters have very opposite appearances of what they actually are like.
Yeah.
Because Nanako, she looks like a very quiet, sophisticated, intelligent girl, and she writes in she can only communicate in her
Senryu poetry
or haikus.
Yeah.
Because all the words get jumbled up in her head and she can't talk, I guess.
Yeah, which I think is kind of funny.
So you'd think that she'd be a very intelligent girl, but she's just an absolute
goofball,
stupid airhead.
Yeah, she's a goofball
that happens to write in haikus.
Mm-hmm. And then Busujima, he's a kind of a tough badass who gets into fights and stuff on occasion, but really,
well, he doesn't get in fights. The fighting thing was in his past.
Yeah,
that's what he's trying to get away from.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he looks all badass and scary, but he's just a very happy goofball kind of character on the inside.
Yeah, and he just wants to write poetry. I thought that was kind of hilarious. After he'd beaten the crap out of some guy, he just spoke in a haiku, I think by accident.
Yeah, it was. And he's it felt so good, and that was my backstory.
Yeah, and that's all we needed to see. And they're okay, I like this character already. And then his just and it's just remember just to smile and be friendly. And he looks like a fucking demon.
Yeah. I'm Busujima, nice to meet you.
Yeah. Yeah. But much like with Joshi Kausei, there's not a whole lot to say about this show. It's a short form kind of just skit, kind of really quick skits sort of deal.
I very much foresee myself just continuing to watch this over the rest of the
absolutely.
Season. It's cute and wholesome, and the end scene where he was that's what something a girl would say to a guy who likes him. And he's just bop, 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 beating on his back. It was really adorable.
I adore this show so far. We're having a pretty good opening week, I think, for the season.
Yeah, it was very strong.
Yeah, it was kind of slow paced. But it was an enjoyable. We're just slowly getting lulled into the season. I
wasn't disappointed in anything this week.
Yeah,
for sure.
But who knows? We've still got a few weeks before we finally make our decision on what we're actually going to be talking about for the rest of the season.
Yeah, so. And a lot of more. I think at least 5 or 6 more shows are coming out next week.
Yeah, I think so. So next week's going to be a little bit more busy.
Yeah, because we're going to be talking about all the new stuff. Although, like we said before, we're not going to be talking about the short form shows anymore.
Yeah.
We'll probably bring them up in the mid-season review again to let you guys know if they're any good or not. If anyone's not watching it or blah, 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 blah. So, if there's anything that we missed that you think we should be watching this season, go ahead and let us know in the comments below. Yeah, it's new season.
New season, everybody.
Spring 2019. I'm surprised we didn't say winter 2019 at all this episode.
I accidentally said 2018.
Oh yeah, there you go. That was the one.
So
thing.
that was my flub. So yeah, we're starting off great. We're starting off strong, everybody. Anyway, so that's going to be it for this week of the Timesink Anime Podcast. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week.
Yeah.
Till then, take care of yourselves. Anchor away.
Bye.
Bye.